Thank you very much, Tasha M. Dyer, for that wonderful introduction as always. Thank you, Pastor Bird, for keeping us with pips on our mind and giving us expert training as always. Thank you to the participants. I really appreciate the way in which everyone is latching on to this information. And I love the fact that you're excited about it. And Tasha M. Dyer, I love the fact that you love that they are excited about it. This is what it's all about. You know, anybody who knows anything about success knows that emotion is a very important component. And when you do anything that you do with passion, it propels you to another level of success. So literally, I'm very excited for you. And I think that I want to share a visualization strategy that I do with life coaching clients. Oftentimes, people get caught up in their caught upness, where there's so many issues and so many problems and trials and tribulations and perceived struggles that people oftentimes get into a pattern where they begin to expect those types of things. So one of the exercises I do when I'm helping people to kind of turn the corner and shift their energy is I have an exercise called the I'm so excited exercise. And the I'm so excited exercise is so effective, it's just not even funny. And what you do is by yourself in the comfort of your home with nobody there to perceive you or potentially judge you, you just at the top of your lungs scream how excited you are about whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you desire. And what happens is, I've said this before, the human brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. The human brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you begin to get really excited about what it is that you desire, pretending as if it's already there, then your cells begin to feel that. They begin to absorb it. And you literally are sending out signals for all of the things that need to happen for it to take place. So let's take this excitement, add this extra technique if you'd like to, and let's just walk in this energy. A couple of Talk with the Finance Doctors ago, I referenced the cornball song, The Wind Beneath My Wings. So if I'm referencing it a second time, is it really cornball to me? So bottom line is, it's the same concept. The wind beneath your wings is that driving force that literally propels you into the air. And so this I'm so excited exercise is a part of that. What we're doing right now in real time, in the type of appreciation that you're showing and the type of excitement that you're showing for getting it, it is that wind beneath our wings. So let's continue to soar. Now here's what I'd like to do tonight on a Talk with the Finance Doctor. As always, any questions that you have take precedent. As always, any comments that you want to make are going to supersede my comments. So just jump right in, unmute yourself if you have a question or comment, and feel free to also do so in the chat if you feel more comfortable doing it that way. I heard so many good things on our training tonight that I wanted to spend a little bit of time doing the Bythewoodism. If you know what you're doing, you will always have a job. If you know why you are doing it, you will always be the boss. There was a lot of exchange of what? Corlia wanted to understand what was going on, and so she got an expert explanation, and she got it, a lot of what? But I just feel like it might take us or help propel us to the next level if we just go a little bit deeper and talk about a little bit of the why of some of the great concepts and techniques that we discussed tonight in our training. So I'd like to start off with the whole concept of the sell if it's higher than 70 and buy if it's under 30. Now, being an educator for 25 years, I began to learn patterns in which people learn. And I began to notice patterns in which people process information. And one of the things that we do a lot is we memorize a rule. And that's good because the ability and effort that it takes to memorize a rule obviously puts you in a position to remember it. However, there is a difference between remembering and internalizing. So I think that the way in which some of us correctly restated some of the concepts that Pastor Bird was teaching us is we said it in that iambic pentameter, which reflects memorizing, which reflects remembering. So da 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 da. When you do that, it works. It makes you remember. But from a neural perspective, it only goes to your short-term memory. When instead you connect it and it's yours, then when you talk about it the same way you would tell someone a story. So my goal tonight is to, again, talk about some of the why. So let's start with that 70 and 30. Now, the 70 and 30 rule works perfectly, because if you see something that's over 70, and of course, I love the way we remixed it to 72 to give us a little cushion. And just real quick, let's break that down. Because why is Pastor Bird doing it that way? Well, if you know you have somewhere to go and it takes an hour to get there, the best technique is not to leave an hour before that. Why? Because you don't have a cushion. So if you're really going to walk in excellence, if it takes an hour for you to get there, you may leave 90 minutes ahead of time. You may leave an hour and 15 minutes ahead of time. That way you have a cushion, and the cushion ensures that you'll get there on time. That's what's going on with the 72 and the 28. Pastor Bird is wisely reflecting the fact that, yes, the rule is 70 and above, but that and above means something. So that $2 cushion kind of puts you in a position where you know you're going to be on time. You know you're going to arrive in the right time when you're taking on that trade. So that's a very good technique, and that's the why behind it. Now, the concept of sell or take a sell position when you're over 70 and take a buy position when you're under 30 is predicated on this concept. And that is that when it's over 70, it's oversold, which gives you an opportunity. And when it's below 30, it's overbought, which gives you an opportunity. So what I'd like to do is give you a real life example snatched from the headlines of my life so we can apply it to foreign exchange. I found that when teaching this type of material that is literally foreign to us from the perspective of the way in which we've been exposed to experiences, when we connect it to something that's real, something that we can identify with, then it's easier for us to take on the concepts that are a little bit more complex. So let me tell you a story that occurred to me in the early 90s. So I was a graduate student at the University of Florida. And while I was there, it was very important to me that I attended the Florida State game. It was the highlight of my year. I'm a huge college football fan, and I'm a huge fan of the state of Florida, born and raised in Tampa. So I just love that game. That game has individuals that I know on both sides, individuals that are cousins, brothers, played against each other in high school, played against each other in Pop Warner. It's a very intense rivalry that to this day I attend every year. So what I used to do when I was a grad student is I would use my networking skills to align myself a ticket so I was guaranteed to go. Now hear me, those Florida State games will sell out. So just because you are a student, it does not in any way guarantee that you're going to be in that building, whether it's in Tallahassee or in Gainesville. So this particular year, I was in graduate school, and it was going to be in Gainesville. So what I did was I went through all of the individuals that I knew that could possibly get me a ticket. Well, there was this one young lady who I was tutoring. She was taking the basic finance class, of which I was a TA, and she had a C in the class when she met me. So I tutored her, and now she had a strong A-. So this woman felt like she owed me. So she happened to be the girlfriend of one of the players. And that player happened to be from New Jersey. So because he was from New Jersey, he didn't really have family. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to get a ticket. So she arranged for him to give me a ticket to the Florida State game. Follow with me. I promise you, I'm going to connect this to foreign exchange. So 2 weeks before the game, she breaks up with her boyfriend. Boy, I was hot. I was mad with her. I was like, are you serious? You mean to tell me you wouldn't just stay in a bad relationship for 2 weeks for your boy so I could get a ticket? I was hot. But it was the reality that my ticket opportunity left because she left the relationship. So it was too late for me to establish a new relationship to get a ticket. So this is what I did. I went to the Florida State game, and I went to try to buy a ticket, to scalp a ticket. Now, when I got there, this was a year when Florida and Florida State were doing very well. One was ranked number 1, one was ranked number 2. It was a huge national battle. When I got to the field 3 hours before the game, there were individuals just like me who wanted tickets. And those individuals represented the fact that they wanted tickets by putting up a finger. 2 tickets, 4 tickets. I want 6 tickets. Of course, I was walking around with 1 finger because that designates that I want a ticket. Now, individuals that were selling tickets or had tickets to sell, they would hold up a ticket. So there are individuals walking around with tickets. Now, I noticed that there were a lot of people walking around with fingers, a whole lot of fingers throughout that entire area before the state or right in front of the stadium. But there weren't that many tickets. So a lot of fingers, not that many tickets. So this is something for years I have used to describe supply and demand, because the fingers represent demand and the tickets represent supply. You have more demand than you do supply. Guess what happens to the price? It shoots up. So that particular day, I knew I was going to have to pay a large amount of money. We won't get into the numbers because you will start judging me, but the bottom line is I paid a lot for that ticket. Now, the following year, because it worked so well, I did it again. And this time when I went, Florida and Florida State graduated a bunch of seniors and they fell off. So now they're ranked like number 13 and ranked number 15. And so they're not as highly ranked. It's not as competitive. There are no national implications to the game. And when I got there to buy my ticket, I noticed this. There weren't a lot of people with fingers. There were fingers, but not that many. But a lot of people were trying to sell those tickets. They were so aggressive, they were telling the story of why they had tickets. Yeah, this is Johnny's ticket, and he got drunk, and he didn't make it. Everybody was so aggressive, there were so many tickets. Now, if there are not that many fingers, demand, but there are a whole lot of tickets, that means the supply is higher than the demand. And the price I paid that year to go to the game was half what I paid before. What's your point, finance doctor? My point is, you can tell by these 2 examples that the performance of the teams throughout the season, because the Florida State game is the last game of the season, the performance reflects how people feel about it. In a situation where they're ranked number 1 and number 2, it's overbought. There are too many people trying to buy it, and so the price shoots up. But in a situation where they're not ranked very high, there are a lot of tickets, not that many fingers, so it's oversold. And that makes the price go down. So what I'm saying to you is that when you take this concept and you apply it to the foreign exchange market, that's the reason why we're going to over 70. We're going to over 70 because it's overbought. And because it's overbought, then it's probably going to go down in price. So this is a good time for us to take a sale. On the other side of it, it's oversold and the price goes down and it's at 30. And so now it's going to be a good time for me to buy. So think about it. I buy low and sell high. I buy low and sell high. If we just compare this to a very simple stock scenario, you buy a stock at a certain price and then you sell it at a higher price. I know we're not talking about stocks, But the basic financial market fundamentals of a stock can make it easier for us to understand the complexities of the foreign exchange market. Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. So if I think about it like that, I don't have to remember the rule. I can internalize the rule. I can wireize the rule. I understand that if it's less than 30, that means it's on its way up. So I will buy it at that $28 mark and I can ride up the wave. When it's higher than 70, that means that it's gone too high and it's not going to go any higher. So if I buy it at that 70, 72 range, then I'm going to ride the wave down. So I hope that makes sense. I hope so much that it makes sense that I want to pause right now and I want to ask if anybody has any specific questions about this concept that I'm explaining, that you understand a little bit more on what this over 70 and under 30 represents. Any questions from anybody on that? So your silence to me means that you get it. And that's a beautiful thing. That's our whole point of making sure that everyone understands that. So literally what we're doing is we're taking a position where we understand that anytime a price or a currency exchange pip value is in between that 30 and 70, it's just a normal pattern. It's not on one extreme or the other. The two Florida State examples I gave you were extremes. One had them very highly ranked, so the price was really high. One had them very lowly ranked, lower than normal for a Florida State game, and so the price was very low. And anytime I go to those games and think about it, I've been doing that since 1993. So I go and do it every time, and I can literally tell what price I'm going to pay based on the rankings of the team. Because the rankings of the team is going to determine how people feel about buying it, and it's going to determine how people feel about selling it. So I know that in situations where it's 1 and 2, that's what you call a seller's market. Seller's market just means that sellers are in a better position than buyers. Why? Because I have something that somebody else wants. So I can get a premium price for this ticket. When it's a 13 versus 17 game, then that's called a buyer's market. Why? Because I'm in a position where the buyer has more power than the seller, so I'll be able to purchase this at a very reasonable price. And the thing about it is, when we were talking about this tonight, and we were doing such a good job of understanding it and asking great questions, we still were looking at it from a memory perspective. But if you think about it, it makes logical sense. We want to buy things when they're lower price. That's why we get so excited about a sale. The quality of something doesn't go down because the price is lower. We have an opportunity to get a higher quality item when the price goes down. But when we're on the other side of the transaction and we're selling, then we have an opportunity to get more money. We want more. We always want to buy the least possible, we want to pay the least possible price for a house. But we always want to sell it at the highest price. So literally this strategy represents those two logical extremes. So really, I'm not adding anything to what we've already talked about. I'm just going a little bit deeper and giving you another layer of perspective so we can understand it better. I won't have to look at my index card or look at a note that I wrote and try to remember, okay, now what happens when it's over 70? What happens when it's under 30? Now it's logical. Now it makes sense. Now the concept is mine. I buy low, sell high. If it's lower than 30, I'm going to put a buy position. If it's higher than that, I'm going to do a sell. So again, hopefully that makes sense. Now, another concept that came up today was about the stop loss. And I felt like, again, we did an excellent job of asking the question and getting the appropriate answer. But I still would like to go a little bit deeper so that we, again, can understand the logic. And one of the reasons why these concepts can be complex is because we're talking about pips. We're talking about percentage changes. In fact, you know what? Here's a scenes for next week. You know how when you watch your favorite show, at the end you get excited because they show you a little snippet of what's going to happen next on the next episode. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to dedicate Thursday's Talk with the Finance Doctor to PIPs. I'm going to talk about PIPs, explain PIPs, go deeper into PIPs, give you some PIP examples. So literally, it's going to be Gladys Knight and the PIPs. I'm going to really break it down so that we all understand PIPs even further. So back to my point. If I explain this with a simple stock or a simple dollar security situation, it's a little bit easier because we deal with dollars all day. We don't necessarily deal with PIPs all the time. So although we're doing a great job, again, of understanding all of this, we're still dealing with a methodology that has a unit of measurement that we've only been exposed to a short amount of time. So let me give you a very simple example using a stock. Let's suppose that I buy a stock for $100. That is the price I'm going to pay, $100. Now let's suppose that I feel comfortable that based on the return pattern I've seen for this stock, that it's going to go to 120. Here's an example of why I may think that. In any financial scenario that you look at with a stock, there's certain data that they give. And one piece of data is the 52-week high and low, 52-week high and low. And that measure just says over the last year, what's the highest this stock has gone and what's the lowest this stock has gone. And it gives you an indicator of how its range is. So let's suppose that I buy this stock for $100 and I know that the high has been, say, 130. So if the high's been 130 and say the low's been 80 and I'm buying it at 100, there's a pretty good indication that it has the opportunity to go up, let's say to 120. So if I buy the stock for 100 and I feel comfortable that it will grow to 120, I buy the stock at 100 and I feel comfortable that it'll go to 120. I may take a buy position at 100 and then set my take profit at 120. Very simple. It's simple because I'm comfortable with dollars, nice whole round numbers, buy at 100 and then sell at 20. So if I can make $20 per share on this particular deal or this particular transaction, that would be good. Then I have to ask myself a third question. And the third question is, how comfortable do I feel with losing that money? What is the most I could lose on this $100 investment and still feel okay? Still be all right doing it another day. Now, sometimes people make this decision based on their comfort level or their risk tolerance. But sometimes individuals make that decision based on the number of dollars that they have. Maybe the money that I'm spending for this $100 a share trade, maybe I need a certain amount in order to cover this bill. And if I lose $5 on that, I can still cover the bill. So I'm using my logic, my situation, my experiential scenario to decide how much I feel comfortable losing. So let's suppose the answer is 5. I feel comfortable losing $5 a share. So watch how easy this becomes. I buy the stock at 100. I set my profit point at 120. And I set my stop loss at 95. So if that stock goes down from 100 to 95, I've only lost $5 a share and I'm good with that. So that's the way you would use a stop loss in a normal, comfortable buy position, something that we've seen over and over, we've heard about, even if you've never done it. We're comfortable with buying something and selling. You do that at every bake sale. You bake the goods and you sell it for a higher price, you make the money, give it to the church. So bottom line is, that's a very comfortable scenario. Buy at a certain price, sell at another price. Let me do it again. Buy at 100, take the profit at 120, stop loss at 95. Simple, very simple. Now, quick story. When I was in elementary school, I did so well with my multiplication. I thought I was the man when I was in 3rd grade. I went to school and they gave us these times tables, and I knew those times tables backwards and forwards. I came home bragging, I know my times tables, and I would do my times tables. I know some of you young, like, what are times tables? Times tables are the physical manifestation of multiplication that we used to get. And we would take it and we would memorize 3 times 1, 3 times 2, 3 times 3. And we were bad with it because we knew every one of those multiplication tables. So I ran multiplication. I ran my times tables. I was a times table master. Then the semester changed. Then we started doing division. He's Dr. Bythewood today, but in the 3rd grade, he was just a dude trying to make it through. And I did not understand division to save my life. I just didn't get it. And the reason why I did not get it is because I memorized my times tables. There's no memorizing division. There's no division tables. So because I never understood the logic, because I knew what the multiplication tables were, but I didn't know why they were, I was lost. Now, if I could go on a tangent to my tangent to my tangent, I sent my children to Montessori because in Montessori, they learn what multiplication is by looking at the actual items. I did that because I did not want them to experience what I experienced. So I'm struggling in division. I was getting straight A's on my multiplication tables. Now the teacher is giving me low grades that I was not used to because I just didn't understand division. One day, a tutor, that's right, I said a tutor. One day, a tutor said this to me. Just think of division as being the opposite of multiplication. Oh, I finally got it. If 3 times 2 is 6, then 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now I get it. When they explained to me the why, when they broke it down to me, then it was mine. Just think of it as the opposite. If you get your times tables, division is just the opposite. Why are you telling us about multiplication and division, finance doctor? I'm doing that because I could feel that everybody on this call understood buy at 100, sell at 120, put a stop loss at 95. If you understand that, all you have to do is think of that as being like a times table. You get that. So when you take a sell position, it's just the opposite. It's exactly the same concept. It's just reversed. You ever been looking in a mirror and you did something and then you saw that the reflection did the opposite thing? That's all it is. It is a reflection of what I just did. So now, because with a sell position, I don't make money when it goes up. I make money when it goes down. I've given this example before. Walmart was on the way up. Kmart was on the way down. So I would take a buy position for Walmart, ride the wave up, take a sell position or a short position for Kmart, ride the wave down. So if you understand 100, 120, 95 stop loss, now you can just reverse it and do the same exact thing for the sell position. So now with a sell position, you take the position at 120. You take your profit at 100. It's the same exact situation. It's just in the opposite direction. I take the position at $100. I sell at 120. And now I'm going to make my stop loss. I only want to lose $5. Remember, sell, I'm going down this way. So if I'm going down this way, and this is where I take my position at 120, then my stop loss will be at 125. I don't have to remember it. It's logical. It makes sense. On a sell, you make money when it goes down. You make money when the stock goes down. You make money when the currency pair goes down. So if I take my stop loss, it keeps it from only going up $5. I hope that that makes sense. Now, all you have to do now is take everything I've said logically and just pipperize it. Just add the pips to it. Just change dollars to pips. Take stock price to currency pairs. And it's the same exact situation. So I'm going to call out Corlia only because I just want to make sure you get it, because you asked some very good questions about that early on in the training. Corlia, does that make sense in terms of internalizing the logic of the stop loss on the buy position and the stop loss on the sell position? You can chat if you want, but please answer that question for me.
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. That is the reason why I do what I do. That's why I put on the bow tie, so I can hear somebody say, I understand. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you so much for further explaining it. It's just, you're just reiterating it, and I'm absorbing it more.
Excellent.
Thank you for that.
Excellent. I remember a preacher told me a long time ago, there are no messages in spirit, only confirmation. So I'm glad I was able to give you some more confirmation in understanding how this works.
And so, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Are there any questions from anybody about anything that I have said thus far? Any questions? So there's several things that are important to me. One of them is that we understand how this works. Another one is that we continue to walk in this great energy, and we continue to walk in excellence and excel at foreign exchange. Another thing that's important to me is that I honor your commitment to these calls, your commitment to this process, how dialed in everybody is, and I want to make sure that we have adequate time to do all the other things that we need to do. So I'm going to end this call, and once again, any questions, any comments, any testimonies? Okay, Tasha M. Dyer, I turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Finance Doctor. Thank you for the information. And I actually want to thank you for taking that tonight's training, what we learned tonight, and taking it just a step further. And before we actually end this call, I believe Mr. Rogers had some information that he wanted to share to kind of elaborate on a few things as well. Mr. Rogers?
Excellent.
Folks, fantastic. I am absolutely excited to understand, and I'm just tremendously grateful, one, for all of you as our business partners, and then those who are providing leadership, taking time out of your schedule, and the heart and the manner in which you guys are sharing this information is just absolutely wonderful. So I just kind of wanted tonight reinforce the foundation, the systematic approach to how we're delivering this information, and salute each and every one of you this evening. But I want to kind of share with you, and for me, reflecting back to when we took a look at this opportunity and we really understood how many people we would be able to equip, help, expand their mind, and empower them. And to see as it continually beginning to unfold, we're absolutely excited about it. But here's one thing I want to just share with you. Our whole training calls, the tools training, are specifically designed for you and I to be empowered, to have camaraderie, but it's also, too, an opportunity for you, for those who may not be as versed into articulating this message of why this vehicle is so effective and so efficient. This is also an opportunity for you to invite guests out to experience what you're excited about. And one thing that I will say to you is, I want you to understand that no matter where you are, all of us learn at different rates, different capacities. So I want to make sure that you take advantage of the system, of allowing the system to do the heavy lifting for you. And why do I say that? I say that simply because so often, because we naturally, most of us feel like we want to know information. We need to have it before we can share with other people. And that's why I want to make sure that you realize, understanding that you have people, and the system is really designed as you're learning to be able to expose people, because I would dare say that when I hear the information that's being bestowed upon each and every one of us on a weekly basis, I want to caution anyone who has any concern about, because you haven't galvanized or grasped all the information, it puts you in a place that you're reluctant to share the information. And the reason why I'm saying is I'm speaking from personal experience, because as much as I knew about the industry, had not really honed my skill in on understanding the totality of the foreign exchange market in January. And when I saw that, this opportunity and how it could benefit other individuals, I said to myself, there's absolutely no way I could not share this with the people that was in my sphere of influence and the people that I cared about. And fortunately, I'm glad I made that decision, because most of you, had I made the decision to learn this information before I shared it, many of you would not be on this call at this particular time. And the benefit of that is, from a systematic standpoint, we've been able now to put a complete and total system in place that now everybody has an opportunity to win. So I want to caution you and challenge you, for those of you to understand, as Dr. Bythewood said, what we do and why we do the business the way we do it is all for you to have the ability to share this information. And it doesn't matter whether you're specifically, you made up in your mind that you just want to trade, but I would share with you, as you're trading, as you're learning this information, there's nothing that would preclude you from sharing the information with the people that's in your sphere of influence, because they need to know this information, whether you obtain it, absorb it, it doesn't matter. And I don't want any of us to, I want us to be concerned of making sure people get the right information. And at this point, I pray that all of you feel comfortable enough to know that you have some individuals from a leadership standpoint who really care about your success, and we're really in it to help other people become financially successful and leave a legacy. So that's why I'm excited about the system that we have in place. And so I just want to kind of share with you and reiterate the IML vehicle, the IML Academy, and how you really get an opportunity to launch this opportunity. I myself, I've been in this space for over 20 years in direct sales and the commercial lending. And we've had the opportunity to build huge organizations literally across the country and across the globe. But when I saw this information, for me, this was an opportunity for me to continue the mission and purpose that we could totally teach people how to truly leave a financial legacy. And even the success that we've had in the past from the direct sales industry, there's absolutely no comparison to where we are and where we're headed by taking advantage of this vehicle and taking advantage of the IML opportunity. So with that being said, I just want to kind of walk us through the PowerPoint presentation of why IML and why it works and why it makes sense. And if you're with us tonight, I want to re-engage, and I want you to remember why you got started and how important it is for us to make sure that we get an opportunity to expose as many people as possible to this wonderful information, because most of us have not had the opportunity to experience the luxury of knowing how to take advantage of an opportunity such as this. So with that being said, our market is live. It's a wonderful opportunity. We're well on pace to be able to accomplish our goals over the next 60 months. It is our purpose, it is our vision to be in a position where we are going to definitely document 100 seven-figure money earners. And we're going to be able to do that effectively from a trading perspective, and also from a residual and the distribution from a team building standpoint. And completely, totally confident in it. And I want to encourage all of you on the line tonight to be a part of this movement that's literally going to be able to change communities around the world. So why is that important? It's simply because Our Markets Live is simply about understanding the power of trading. So we're talking about the foreign exchange market. You know, the numbers are very astronomical when we're talking about the industry itself of foreign exchange. It's right at about a $5.3 trillion a day industry. And as we continually add the different components of foreign exchange, the traditional foreign exchange, and now with the advent of cryptocurrency, Folks, we're talking about a pool that literally allow you and I to participate in upwards of close to $11 trillion. So just think about this. Every 30 days, we're talking about $30+ trillion that you and I have an opportunity to participate on. And if we look at our families, our situations, and because we have this information, that means that you and I should have no fear of wanting to expose our friend, neighbors, and relatives to this information, and then allow them to decide whether or not they want to participate in a pool that absolutely is going to allow them to receive and reciprocate all the money that they're doing. And here's what I want you to understand tonight, if you're listening to me. And listening, I want you to listen with your heart tonight. Because if you know your friend, neighbor, or relative, if they have a bank account, it is our responsibility, because we have a different set of information to help them realize that their banks are taking their money and doing exactly what you and I are learning to do. And now they have the opportunity to literally become their own bank. So that's what we're excited about. It's a global market. It's an opportunity to take advantage of something that for the most of us, we were aware of it, but we didn't know how to enter and participate in it. And now we're being educated on literally how to become your own bank. Folks, I get more and more excited about understanding that now we got an opportunity to change the paradigms of all our families, all of the historical things that has not happened from a financial standpoint. We're now in a position to eliminate all those excuses. So now, why is that important? Because, we have a foundation. Chris Terry, over 5 years ago, decided to do exactly what you and I are doing. And I'm so thankful and grateful that he was not concerned about who would reject the information, but he was only concerned about who would say yes to the information. And by doing that, here we are today, an opportunity to participate in an industry that we now have the opportunity to become our own bank. So Christopher Terry, 20+ years of industry experience, trading. Isis Delatorre, who's our Chief Financial Officer, really has all the necessary licenses to make sure that this company is going to be around for the future. I mean, literally dots every I, crosses every T. And then when it comes to exposing and coaching and creating a culture of success, Alex Morton is considered to be who's who under 30. It's been featured in Business for Home magazine, things of that nature. And then Ivan Tappy, who's been responsible for our Latin American expansion. So everything rises and falls on leadership. So the core foundation are people who really care about other people, because all of them collectively could have kept this information to themselves and they would have been financially astute and well as they have already done. But the heartbeat is they want to see people win, and they want to see average people have above average results. And then our personal team. I mean, you have the likes of a Dr. Craig Bythewood, a Pastor Isaac Bird, our fearless, one of our business partners, Natasha M. Dyer, collectively coming together to provide such a platform that you and I can exist and then expand and develop like nothing before. And how do we do that? We're able to accomplish that through our Marcus Live Academy. I mean, everything is about education, because think about it. Education is key, but it is also what are we being educated upon? And the majority of the people that's in your sphere of influence have tremendously limited experience when it comes to education on how to multiply what they currently have. So we're not even talking about making more money. We're simply talking about and teaching and instructing individuals how to multiply what they currently have. So it's available in all major languages, and it's complete and total education regarding the foreign exchange and cryptocurrency. So folks, we're talking about a win-win situation. And then why is that important? Because not only do you have the opportunity to have your online academy experience, but we've made it simple because some people learn differently. So our Marcus Live TV is also designed to take everything that you learn on a one-on-one basis at your own leisure, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But we also give you live training through our IML TV with the expert traders. And then once again, we've enhanced that experience from a team building standpoint. And that's why we provide the platform and what we do on a day-to-day, on a Tuesday and Thursday, and give you the opportunity to make it much more personable on top of what our Marcus Live TV represents. And then, we have the tools. The harmonic scanner. The harmonic scanner is designed for you and I to understand the patterns because we've taken the time to exhaust all the material in the IML Academy. And then now we understand why the tools are so effective and efficient. And I'm absolutely amazed to know that you and I have the opportunity to take advantage of the same tools that the big banks of the world take advantage of, such as the Morgan Stanleys of the world, the Goldman Sachs of the world. And the harmonic scanner is simply designed to identify patterns, give you and I entry and exit points, take profit, stop losses, and then, but most importantly, it allows you and I to multiply and maximize what the financial institutions that we've been participating in have not given us the privilege to recoup our own monies that have been housed in these financial institutions for years and years. So now we're playing catch up, folks. We got an opportunity now to accelerate our income producing activity because now we have a different set of information and taking advantage of the tools. So the harmonic scanner is one of those tools. And then we have the web analyzer, which is uniquely designed to give you updates, give you different strategies based on your personality, based on what your learning style is. But once again, it gives you entry points, exit points. It gives you the ability to take profits. And then you now have another tool in your arsenal to increase your rate of return on your mental capacity and learning skill. But then it also gives you the ability, once again, to become your own bank and execute the exact same way all the financial institutions of the world are executing. So that's the web analyzer. And then not our training, which is our daily swing trades. I mean, once again, folks, I mean, what place do you know? Think about your own current personal situation, no matter what you're doing. How often does the CEO of your company literally lends all of his intellectual property to make you become much more profitable? And that's what Christopher Terry's done with our swing trade 9-hour session. Folks, he literally is still in the market trading as well as running the company, but wanting to make sure that you and I have the most effective information and current information. And that's what we have at our fingertips. Absolutely amazing that people really want to see you and your family win. So that's what we're talking about, being able to take advantage of that. And then, of course, we have our swipe trades. As you're learning this information, no matter where you are, you're just beginning. So the company literally has made it so user-friendly that they're sending you and I signals as our growth, mental growth of this understanding, becoming more familiar with this language, this concept. You and I now have the ability to instantly become profitable once we go through the IML Academy. And at worst case scenario, you'll have the ability to instantly generate revenue with our swipe trades. And then our swipe coin. Once again, we're talking about being able to participate in the entire market, whether it's on the foreign exchange side of the market or the cryptocurrency market. And that's what swipe coin does as well. I mean, folks, we have the best of both worlds. You have the license to print money. You have the ability to literally become your own bank. And my question to you tonight is, why wouldn't you want to share this information when you know the people that you know, their money is sitting in their bank account and their banks are literally taking their money, multiplying and making millions, billions, and trillions of dollars. And then your friends, your neighbors, and your relatives are not getting their fair share of it. And now you have the solution to all of their challenges that they're experiencing on a day-to-day basis with this vehicle, Marcus Live. So how do you get started? You get started with our Platinum Plus package. I mean, it's simple. I mean, you're talking about a $195 investment one time to enroll into an academy that's going to provide you an entry point into a $5.3 trillion a day industry with the foreign exchange, and then you add the cryptocurrency space to it, and then it accelerates to upwards to $11.2 trillion. Folks, you're talking about getting started. You're talking about enrolling into the educational platform, and they made it so simple and easy. You're rolling into a university learning system, but you don't have to pay that tuition up front. They're going to make it available that you can pay it on a monthly basis. And then if you add the additional things that I'm talking about, the additional tools, folks, you're talking about a $250 investment one time, and then to have access to this information, you're talking about as little as $194 a month to put you in a position of profit. So I want to caution you tonight, if you're thinking, I don't have an additional $200 to invest in my future to become a bank, then I want to challenge you and help you understand that what you're currently doing is not paying you what you're worth. So no longer should you look at any opportunity and what it's costing you, because if you don't take advantage of this information, it's costing you the lifestyle that you deserve, and it's costing you the time that you don't have because ends are not meeting. So never let money stop you from moving forward. And then we made it simple. If you feel comfortable with enrolling into this educational platform, and we're going to put you in a position where that monthly access fee is waived by simply sharing this information with 2 people that you care about the most. And I'm sure there's many others that you know that they need to understand this information. But here's what I want you to understand. Allow them to say no to the opportunity. Never make decisions for other individuals, because I'm so thankful and grateful that this information was shared with me and an individual allowed me to make my own decision. And here we are. Because I said yes, you're now participating and becoming your own bank and being part of this. So free is free. But if you never share this information with any individuals, and if you experience what you've experienced tonight on our trading call with Pastor Bird, and then I'll talk with the finance doctor, folks, the information, we're going to put you in a position of profit as long as you stay plugged in and stay committed to the game plan. And then ultimately, business ownership is where you want to be, because you want to find yourself in a position where residual income supersedes your own personal ability. And because you need to share this information, you want to share this information, our Marcus Live says, you know what? Thank you for helping us gain market share because you care about the people that's in your sphere of influence. We're going to also include you in on the residual income component of our business model. So you have our team builder bonuses. Each and every time you help someone enroll into this educational platform, you're going to be in a position where you can generate an extra $35 when you personally do it. And as you progress through our ranks, an additional $10 to $15. And this is paid out on a weekly basis, folks. So the more people you help, the more you become rewarded residually. And on top of you learning the skill on how to trade, and then you now have the opportunity to take advantage of the residual income component and utilize the money that our Market Live says, thank you for helping us gain market share by exposing this information and teaching people how to become their own bank. You can now use this same residual income to fund your trading account. So now that gives you multiple opportunities to become your own bank in a collapsed time frame. And then I just want to share this about becoming a Platinum 150. Company says, you know what? You decide to become an independent business owner. You'll make that transition when you decide to for an additional $15. And then we're going to reward you an extra $150 a month, an extra $37.50 a week, simply by introducing this to 3 customers. 3 customers, folks, an extra $150 a month. And just so you know, in order for you to have an additional $150 a month of residual income, you personally would need to have $110,000 in your personal bank account to generate an extra $150 a month. So that's very significant. So I want you to understand. And then once you accumulate 12 personal customers, whether you do it as an individual or your customers end up getting customers, you become a Platinum 600. That simply means an extra $600 a month, an extra $150 a week. Folks, we all know that an extra $150 a month, a week coming into your household, I already know it would make a difference in your finances, but it'll give you the opportunity to do some things that you have not been able to currently do. And then at this point, it's simply about duplication. Simply duplicating, become a Platinum 1000. That just means now your residual income is now $1,000 a month, an extra $250 a week. Simple and easy. An extra $12,000 a year for simply encouraging individuals and informing them and teaching them how to become their own bank and allowing our system to take them through the process. You introduce them to the information and we do all the heavy lifting for you. And then you're going to continually go on. And then at the end of the day, folks, our ultimate desire is to have you become a Platinum, a Chairman 10, which simply means you've accumulated 500 customers. And however long that time frame takes, it could take you 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. Here's the reward for doing that. Here's the reward for teaching people how to become their own bank. Our company says, thank you once again for helping us gain market share. And then guess what? They're going to give you a residual income of $10,000 a month, an extra $2,500 a week on top of you learning the skill on how to trade. So, folks, I challenge you tonight to understand that this is a wonderful vehicle, because I can assure you that the average person working 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, in most cases, degreed or not degreed, very seldom will have this chance to earn additional $10,000 a month of residual income and be equipped, empowered with this information to accelerate and multiply the money that they currently have by becoming their own bank. So, folks, this vehicle is amazing. You should be even more excited about it if you are a guest on the call tonight, and you should even be more excited about it if you are a business partner, because you literally, by opening up your mouth and sharing this information and not being selfish, have the ability to literally transform and change lives, communities, and nations. So, folks, no matter how many times we share this information, there are always 3 listeners. The number 1 type person says, you know what, Mr. Rogers, this just simply makes sense because my bank has been taking my money and participating in the foreign exchange and have not been giving my fair share. And the buck stops here. I'm ready. I'm dialed in. So if you are that number 1 type person, simply get back to the individual that invited you out tonight, and they'll be able to take you through the next step in the process. And then there's a number 2 type person that says, I got a couple of questions, but what I've experienced thus far, I know I'm going to get my questions answered. I know I'm going to have the support necessary to be successful. So the next thing I need to do is, what's the next step? So if you are that number 2 type person, simply get back to the person that invited you out, and they'll be able to take you through the next step in the process. And then there's a number 3 type person that says, you know what? You could have stopped talking 15 minutes ago. I've been wanting to learn. I've always wanted to do something spectacular. I've wanted to increase my understanding on how to multiply and grow what I already have. So if you are that number 3 type person, simply get back with the individual that invited you out tonight, and we'll be able to take you through the next step in the process. Be a part of this financial revolution. Be a part of the BYOB movement. Be your own bank for life. Folks, all the excuses have been eliminated. You now have the opportunity to truly leave a financial legacy by teaching your family a new skill, educating them on the process, and then having the right mentorship to groom and grow you to that place of financial interdependence. So with that being said, I'll turn the call back over to our host. So with that being said, folks, this call is officially over. God bless. Have a wonderful evening.